Welcome back everybody, and it's lovely to see you all here. Now, to start this episode off, I got straight into it and got building. Now this is a build I've been wanting to add to this area for a little while, and I've been gathering up the blocks slowly to sort of start this build off. Now, I'm starting off with sort of like a Neverac sort of estimate of what sort of the tiers are going to look like. And this sort of just gives me an indication as to the height of the build. Now, as you guys probably have already seen in the thumbnail, I'm sort of building a windmill today, but I'm sort of trying to not do just like a general windmill that you'd sort of see in a lot of other Minecraft worlds. I wanted this one to sort of look like it's been worn down over time and like slightly abandoned or decaying. I thought that'd be a cool little challenge for me, and the reference image I was using was of a white windmill, so I've actually changed the whole block palette up and I'm using like the pink granite and all the way through to sort of like a sandstone sort of color block palette. So definitely a cool gradient sort of to use, and I thought it was a nice challenge for today. Now, as I'm sort of clearing up the area around me to sort of get a bit of better view of the build, this one's taken me quite a bit of time to sort of put together because there's actually a fair bit of blocks in this build. It's actually bigger than my main build area, which is cool. And as you can see, this is a bit of a faster version of the time lapse because I'm still collecting all the jungle logs and everything else that I need. And then I sort of start pulling apart the back of the build because I didn't actually like how the gradient was here. I sort of wanted to represent sort of light hitting this part of the build, so I've gone with the lighter section of the block palette here. All right, time to pull this whole section down. I wasn't actually happy with the size of the second cylinder, so I'm going to actually go a little bit bigger. I thought that the smaller version of it didn't look big enough for the scale and to be able to hold the large windmill sort of structure I'm planning on building at the top. So this is always a good reason to sort of pull back on your builds, sort of see where you're at as you're going. Just that way you can sort of gauge how you're going and whether or not you think that it's still going in the direction you were originally anticipating. So you can kind of see I'm building that third cylinder, the smallest cylinder on the top at the moment. Now, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to build this fully up, and then I'm actually going to pull down about half of it because I actually want to only show about half of this exterior shell of the windmill here. And I'm actually going to build sort of like timber supports or whatever you want to call it in the interior of it to sort of represent that the outside shell of the windmill sort of decayed over time, and that this sort of building sort of half falling apart, that sort of thing. But it's still being sort of used in the area, which is cool. So that's sort of just how I've done the build process rather than just trying to build random bits of it. I thought this was the best way to go about it. So as you can kind of see here, now I've come back through and I'm just tidying up some of these blocks, and I'm going to start building this interior cylinder. So it's sort of the inside shell of the building. I don't know how to explain it better than that. And it's sort of more of the wood textures and the sort of, I don't know, the supports that would sort of hold this whole building together. So I'm going to sort of chuck this together and sort of see how it sort of looks for me. Now, I do actually sort of put this topping on here, and then I sort of stepped back straight away and went, well, actually, I don't think it's actually tall enough. So I'm going to come back through in a second. I'm actually going to pull that whole top dome down. So I actually wasn't fully 100% happy with it. So this is a good way to sort of show your build process that, you know, obviously you don't get it right 100% of the time. So there you go. There's the top domes. I've removed it completely. And now I'm just going to go straight up from here, basically, is the plan. Just to sort of get a bit more height because I didn't think that the cylinder was tall enough, basically. Now, the plan for this build, eventually, I've only sort of finished the exterior of the build. But I would actually kind of like to use this build to house a farm. I actually haven't built any automated farms in the world yet. And I'm not too sure what sort of farm I'd want to do in here yet. I'm sort of tossing up between maybe like an auto wheat farm, like with villagers, or potentially I might also do a bone meal farm in here. So be very interested to know what you guys think, and let me know down in the comments if you guys can think of any other farms that might be cool in this build. It's sort of like a centerpiece sort of build in my area, but also I want to make it functional as well. So it's always good to use things for both. And I've actually really enjoyed this building process of building without an elytra, to be honest. It sort of forced me to do things with slightly smaller scale than I normally would, and I'm sort of having to move around the build as I go, placing blocks, which is sort of forcing me into using blocks in certain ways. And I think that's been a really good process. So now I'm going to start adding the main interior cylinder full of a block palette that sort of goes from terracotta through to stripped dark oak. And this sort of just finishes off this interior section of the build to sort of give it, so it's not hollow essentially. So I think it turned out really nice. I think that little bit of terracotta towards the top sort of just reflects back onto the granite of the base, but sort of without using that exact same block. I've quite liked. And there it is. That's the finished build of the windmill at the moment. I've sort of added a few little bits and pieces around that sort of bottom area with some barrels and crafting tables and bits and pieces floating around on it just to make it look a little bit spruced up. But that's pretty much the finished build. So let me know what you guys think I should put in here, and I'm really interested to find out. Now, to sort of add a little bit more life around this build, I feel like just plonking it on the environment, I don't think that works really that well. So I'm going to come actually through and start planting out some crop fields. And that's my sort of intention with any sort of starter area that I sort of build, is to build it as if like you're a traditional Minecraft player with farmland and, you know, fenced off animals and all the rest. And I feel like this farmland sort of finishes this little bit of an area off, and it feels like a starter base to me. Be really interested to know what everybody else thinks as well. What other sort of items do you think are really important to like a starter base? Not necessarily sort of farms. I know like most people sort of build an iron farm pretty soon, and those sort of things, but when you think about Minecraft, I'd be really interested to know, like, do you think of, I don't know, having a horse available to you at the start of the game, or like I've done the little fishing hut, which I think is cool. Yeah, just interested to know what everybody else sort of thinks are the key things to have in any starter base. So the actual benefit as well of doing all this farmland and stuff as well with the wheat seeds and also potatoes around, it means if I ever do want large quantities of wheat for like mud or anything like that, I actually can come out here and just grab this now, which is nice. Now, another thing that I've been doing a lot of recently is fishing. Now, the whole reason I've been out here doing this fishing is actually because I want to collect a few enchanting books. And I don't know if I've sort of explained this already in a previous episode, but the main reason I actually want to collect the enchanting books is I want to use these as sort of like the gateway to unlocking villager trades for books. Now, I think if the best way to do this is that each type of enchantment, other than a few like Swift Sneak and like Soul Speed and things as well that you can't get from villagers anyway, pretty much all those trades are available through fishing loot now. So I'm going to try and fish up one of each type of enchantment to basically unlock the villagers, and then once I've unlocked them, I will get a librarian that has that trade. Now, while I've been out here fishing, I actually found around here with a trident as well, which is pretty cool. Now, I think the best thing to do here is to try and potentially just lure him underneath where I'm fishing, which would be really handy. And then I might be able to, ouch, well, that wasn't great. I might be able to just lure him back here where I've actually got the boat. And then I might be able to kill him. And we'll see if we can get a trident here. All right, let's give this a go. Let's ditch all this stuff first. Is he still here? Come on. Yep, there he is. So I'm just going to drag him back this way and see if he follows me. Just over here. Probably the best spot to get him. And the main reason I want him to get into the boat is so he doesn't move around too much. And let's see if he's coming around. Probably just use a bit of free cam here, I reckon. Let's give it a look. Hey, there he is. He's coming through. Perfect. And there he is. Got him in a boat. Let's see what we get. Heyo, there we go. There's a trident. Well, that's a bit of a win. I don't really use tridents that much. I wouldn't mind trying to use them for transport more often now, because I think that using elytra is pretty overpowered. So I think using something else would be pretty cool for a bit. So as we get back into the fishing, I thought I'd just explain to where I'm sort of at with the fishing sort of stuff. So at the moment, I'm just using a very basic fishing rod. I think it's only got lure 2 on it at the moment, and I haven't found another fishing rod yet. So usually you can fish them up as part of like the treasure loot, but I haven't actually found any more fishing rods that were already enchanted yet. So basically all I'm trying to do is fish up a new fishing rod or some books with the enchantments that I'd want. This will sort of help me progress this fishing to be a lot more efficient basically. So another good feature of doing all this fishing as well has been that I've been able to get a whole bunch of raw cod and salmon, which will be really useful because I can actually just cook that up. I've got a bit of a smoker sort of set up behind me, and I can just cook that up and I'll be able to use that as my like initial food source, because I don't have a like cow farm or anything like that in my world. So I think this is looking pretty good at the moment. Let's jump forward to when I find some of my initial stuff. So as you guys can kind of see here, I'm not actually getting that much good loot through this fishing methodology. I'm sort of just getting all the really basic stuff, mostly fish and other sort of basic fishing loot. I'm not getting any of those high tiered treasure loots, that is what they're usually referred to as. And that's what I really do need at the moment. So I'm going to keep doing this for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to actually duck back to my enchanting table and see if I can roll a better fishing rod just to sort of get this process started. Well, I'm heading off now just to head back to where I've got my enchanting table set up. So I'm going to row back across the little bit of water here and head up my little path right up to the starter base. Now I do actually have to put the time and effort in here sometime to light up all this area. It's a mob trap, which is not great. So as you guys can kind of see, there's a little bit of this path going up, which is nice. This is just sort of just to set out where I want this path to eventually be. Probably not the final product. We're going to jazz it up and everything. And then across to the new starter base. And I'm really enjoying this build. It's come out really nicely, and I do need to add more to the interior, but I'm sort of holding off for a little bit just to get some more ideas from you guys. So in we hop. I might just sleep quickly first. Alrighty, let's see what I can roll here once we get going. And I'm basically looking for sort of two things here. I'm either looking for lure, like lure 2 or 3, or hopefully I can get Luck of the Sea, which is a really good enchantment, which will give me more treasure loot. And I got Unbreaking 1, which is not great. Alright, let's try that again for the level 2. Hopefully I can just get like 1 level of nut. Okay. Alright, let's see. Okay, I don't have enough levels now. Of course I don't. Well, back to the fishing. Let's see what we can get. And this is the problem with fishing early game, is that it just takes forever. And that's a pretty good pull. We got a saddle there, which is good. Never complain about that. The saddles are coming in big handy because I'm actually going to start collecting horses and more donkeys soon. Just to sort of fill out a bit more of that sort of horse breeding and stuff sort of area. And hopefully here I can get some more loot soon. So let's just jump forward to when I get my first initial piece of loot here. Oh, nice. And I got a book pull. And it's Impaling 4. Alrighty, well, I was hoping for something a little bit better than that, but it's good to see that the treasure loot is coming up. And we are getting a little bit of it. Oh, and nice. That looked like a fishing rod. Oh, okay. That's a very nice fishing rod. Well, that's exactly what we needed. That's got every single enchant that I want, other than mending, which I actually got on a fishing rod earlier. So I'll just have to join those two up, and we've got the ultimate fishing rod now, which is exactly what I wanted. So basically, I'll grab that. Not that one. There it is, mending fishing rod. And we'll go for a trip back to the starter base here. And we'll get them to added together, which would be really good. And the best thing about that is now that that fishing rod won't break because I'll be able to just fish with it. And it'll repair itself as we go. And it's also got all the best enchantments. So that Luck of the Sea 3 will be perfect. So I can actually pull more treasure loot then. So let's go up through here in the village, or the eventual village. It's got one house and one tree at the moment, but that's okay. Let's duck over here to the enchanting section, grab the anvil and pop those two together. Now a useful hint here is to put your two items in, and you can see that it's actually over the enchantment cost limit. But I've actually switched it around here, and then I get down to enchantment cost of 6 rather than 32. So it's always good to double check that when you're doing stuff. All right, let's get back to fishing now with this new rod. And whoa, okay, there we go. There's a book. Wonder which one I got. What did I get? Hey, that's actually not too bad. I might use the efficiency on that eventually, potentially, or maybe even the power. So I'm just going to show you some of my favorite treasures that I've found now as sort of a quick insight into what sort of books I've got so far and where I'm up to sort of roughly with the villages that I'm going to be able to unlock. So I've got Fire Aspect there, which is cool. And there's Riptide as well on that one, Bane of Amphipods. So I'm getting a couple of good books here, but also some ones that aren't that useful, but that's sort of half the fun. And once I do get enough books together, I'm going to start building the villages section on this mountain just here is the plan at the moment. and I'm really excited for it. I'm going to build like individual little builds for each villager, and I think this is a little bit nicer than having just like a trading hall. I don't really want to do a trading hall in this world. I don't think that they add that much ambience to your world. So I've got a bit of a rough idea of what I want to do for the villagers, and I'm excited to show you guys in one of the next episodes. I'd be really interested to know if you guys have any ideas of what you'd want to see on the mountain for the villagers in individual builds as well. And I'm interested to know if anybody can guess what I'm thinking about as to what sort of builds I want to do. They're just going to be really quite small scale. At the moment, I'm planning on doing 1 villager per build, but potentially might be 2 villagers per build, depending on if I want to do that for some of them as well. But I want to make it so it's accessible to me to be able to go in and out of, because obviously I will be trading with the villagers occasionally. And then once I've got all the villagers set up, I will have to work out some sort of emerald source as well. And well, that's actually probably where I'm going to leave it for this episode. So as you can see, the windmill in the background is a great addition to this area. And I've really enjoyed doing this build and just doing the casual fishing and sort of getting this world off to a great start. If you guys enjoyed this video, I'd love if you guys could leave a like or subscribe. And I'd love to hear your comments down in the section down below. If you guys enjoyed this, write something down there. Let me know what you think, what I can improve on or whatever. I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.